All right, so that's good. So now we're going to move into paradigm. So we're going to look at our purpose statements through the lens of paradigm. And if you know Danella Meadows, systems change, she said that, there's many leverage points that we can go to work on to change a system. But the highest one is actually our paradigm, our worldview, the way we see the world. And it's really an invisible thing. It's the water that we swim in, and we take it for granted. But by revealing the paradigms that we're in, it allows us to not only talk to each other, but to see where our purposes overlap and where the synergy is possible. So I think that's very powerful. The other two leverage points that she talked about were the processes through which we work and the structures in which we live. And so as we go through teaming, it really works on those things. But the paradigm is fundamental. And especially, I think in this community, we have different worldviews. And I think that is the source of this radical collaboration that we have to have. So we want to be explicit about that. Again, we're blind to it. We don't even know that we're thinking this way. And so this is going to help us tease apart our paradigms so that we can really hear what each other are saying. Because I think a lot of times we think we're saying the same thing, but we're talking past each other. So this is going to reveal that and help us go to work. So this is a framework actually modified from Carol Sanford, who was part of the Regenesis Institute as well. And so this helps us think into our paradigm. So if your purpose statement, imagine you were going to do that, but in a way that's extractive, that you are going to, reap your own value from this. You can think about that for a moment. What would that look like to be extractive? If you were going to do your purpose, but in a way that was extractive. You can think into that for a second. And what that brings up for me is parasitism. And because parasites are always extracting from other species, other populations, and also in our own human societies, because we're superorganisms, they can be parasites that operate through dominance, just take the resource. Extractive means taking from it one way. It's not a reciprocal exchange. It's just, I want the most I can get out of this for myself. So your purpose might be, maybe you're more concerned with your name recognition or getting financial return or power, those kinds of things. So you can think about that, and that's just gonna give you a touchstone in your mind of how you're not gonna go about doing this. So it gives you something. And when you see with parasites, one of the characteristics of those populations is that it's very short term, and then you get these blooms and crashes. So it doesn't sustain itself. And now a lot of our projects end up being a rest disorder. You said there's something wrong in the world and you want to stop it. Stop cutting down the trees, stop discriminating, stop oppression, right? And so a lot of our purpose statements have this element to it. So now think about your purpose statement in a way that you're trying to stop bad things from happening. What would that look like? Maybe it's regulations. Maybe it is vigilante groups. There's a variety of things you could do. They ought to make a law.
Right.
And okay. And if you think about that, it's really almost like you're solving a problem, you're fixing a deviance, you're measuring, you're thinking about efficiency and stopping bad things. And then there's the do good. And of course, that's where we live mostly, is we want to do this good thing in the world. But, and that's based on your personal beliefs or your passion for a cause or an ideal that you have. But whose ideal? Whose ideal is that? And so then we start to think about taking perspective, considering, and of course, because I believe that all species have an equal right to be here, I'm always trying to think from their perspective, from different perspectives. And the more diverse the perspectives you can think about, the more revealing it is, and the more opportunity for radical collaboration. So what I want, okay, I'm going to finish this, but now think about that too. If we're trying to do good in the world, how do we do it? Well, we come up with these best practices and then we measure them. We have targets, things like that. And to maintain that, you got to have external control, and which requires an authority to even set these visions. And then we're always talking about scaling it up. We want to scale it up, and that requires those best practices and that quality control and that external control. So that's another way. How would your purpose statement look like if you're trying to do good? And how much of this comes into play? And you see where I'm going with this. This is external control, and all of these levels, extractive, or arrest disorder, or do good, they all require some external imposition onto a system. And it's a mechanistic way of thinking. It's the basis of our mechanistic thinking, that, that we believe that these things are predictable and deterministic, and there is a right answer. And it's very science-based, right? Or religion as well, where there's this system out there and we're looking at it. We're outside the system and we're looking at it and we're like going to find the right answer, fix the part, or tune the system up with our regulations and our imposition. So it's a very mechanistic way of thinking. And anytime you think about metrics or efficiency or best practices or solutions and problems, you're probably falling into this mechanistic thinking. And we all do, because that's how our world works. Whereas with a life mind, a living mind, it's very different. It's those nested systems that we talked about, those circles that are nested within each other. And it's really about creating conditions conducive to more life. So it's possibility minded. It's let's pull out the diversity of possibility. Let's see what's possible. Let's connect those things. And it tends to open up whole new dimensions that we didn't even know were there. It works in a way that's interconnected, flows, and it's complex and unpredictable. Like right now, you look at the news and you're like, wow, we're on a one-way ticket to hell right here. But in reality, it's a living system. And so we don't know what we don't know. This whole thing could flip on a dime. And I know that's true because I'm a biologist. I've seen it. So I don't have that doom and gloom sense because I know it can change on a dime through thinking in a living systems way. And all this potential is rooted in our uniqueness. It's rooted in our uniqueness of being and who we are and our place and our communities, and the essence of a place is what's coming through. And like I said, it comes from a source or a story or a seed. That's how living systems work. And so shifting our minds to facilitate these emergent outcomes in this way is going to be really powerful. So what I thought we would do, let's see what my next slide. What I thought we would do is go into breakouts. And I want you to take your purpose statement through these levels of paradigm and see where you might be falling into a mechanistic thinking, trying to impose your ideals on others, or what are the inherent beliefs, your paradigm that you weren't even aware you had. How are those affecting what you do and why, and in the quality of the work? And I think this also gets at our radical collaboration with, with Indigenous peoples that have this life mind. And so how are we even going to collaborate if we are coming at it from this radically different perspective and paradigm? So I think this opens up a lot of possibility for us. So John, let's put people in breakouts and we'll give them this.
Kempsey, yeah, go back to that slide, right? Because this is a big deal. Okay, let me tell you.
Let me get the, yeah,
So
actually what, I'll
I'm
go,
ready to see the paradigm, that which I haven't even thought of. There we go. Okay, so you're saying those purpose statements then, how are we relating to these approaches of being those statements into the world? Are we thinking we're going to do it in ways that are going to, I'm going to go grab all the attention that I need to, or I'm going to stop AI and regulate it, or hey, I'm just going to be good and do good in the world, or something you're calling develop potential, life mind.
mhm.
This is new ground. This is fabulous. Okay. I'm sure we're all a little confused.
Yeah, this should be a rich conversation that we can jump off from.